Live with me, Kritsween Walia. We're coming live from CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Newsroom. Viewers, our top focus has been the war of words that's been witnessed in the Parliament a day after the Finance Minister, in fact, presented Union Budget 2024. It's been a heated exchange in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, following which the opposition, in fact, decided to stage a walkout in Rajya Sabha as well. But a 20-hour discussion has been slated for both the houses. The Finance Minister, remember, will also be replying in Lok Sabha on the 30th of July, in Rajya Sabha on the 1st of August. But the first response from the Finance Minister came in earlier today in Rajya Sabha as well. Without mincing any words, she addressed all of those concerns which were levelled or raised by the opposition. Remember, Shailja Kumari has been leading the charge for the opposition. The Congress has come out to slam the budget. They say that the budget is in fact biased and discriminatory, claim it was more focused on posturing than action. In a copy of the party's election manifesto, the Congress's election manifesto, we heard it from the Finance Minister. But before we talk about that, remember, importantly, 4 chief ministers have decided to skip the Niti Aayog meeting in protest against the central government's budget. Now, in breaking news coming in, let's talk about the information that we've managed to gather so far on this particular meeting. In fact, highly placed sources in the Finance Ministry have hit back at the opposition. Lost chance by the opposition to not attend Niti Aayog is what the Finance Ministry is making of this. In fact, the government also of the opinion that the demands that the opposition has could have been placed before the Prime Minister. Goes on to also clarify how there is no plan in place to end the old tax regime, so on and so forth. I want to quickly take in a word from Pallavi joining us with more details. At least 4 chief ministers have decided to skip the Niti Aayog meeting, which is to take place on the 27th. What are, sources in Finance Ministry indicating? How are they seeing this? We are putting out some of those exclusive inputs. Pallavi, take us through the overall scenario as it's playing out.
So, what happens in the Niti Aayog meetings is that we know, of course, the Prime Minister heads the Niti Aayog and he's accompanied by his entire team of ministers as well. And this is a special invitation, which, of course, by the Revenue Secretary, Finance Minister, all of them are sitting on board, and the key infrastructural ministers as well. Chief ministers are invited for this, and in fact, this is the best opportunity for the chief ministers to bargain. Sometimes in cases, they do it directly with the Prime Minister. I remember in the last Niti Aayog meeting when Mamata Banerjee had turned up, she had directly negotiated with the Prime Minister asking for more funds. What top Finance Ministry sources are telling us is that we see this as a missed chance. What you think has not been given to you in the general budget, if you feel we have been unfavourable to a particular state, nothing is stopping the Chief Minister to walk up with the Prime Minister and showing a copy of the budget and saying, here's the budget, this is what we wanted and this is what we have not got. Also, very quickly, even when the budgetary recommendations or consultations go on, Chief Ministers normally meet up either with the Finance Minister or with the Prime Minister with a wish list. This is another opportunity which top Finance Ministry sources are telling us, is that they could have actually walked up to the Prime Minister that this is our wish list which we had given to you before the general budget was presented, but none of this has been incorporated. So why have you been unfair to us? So what they are saying is that once again we are appealing to the Chief Ministers who've decided to boycott it to actually come for the Niti Aayog meeting on the 27th and put forward their demands. So far, it's only Mamata Banerjee from the India Front Alliance who's decided to be present, and her strategy is very simple. She's going to walk up to the Prime Minister, directly demand more funds and relief measures for Bengal.
Okay. Pallavi, also to quickly come in, for greater clarification and for the benefit of our viewers, tell us whether or not, any of these states that are today crying foul, that are saying enough has not been done for us, enough has not been heard as far as their respective states are concerned, and most of them, of course, opposition-ruled states. Had they put out these concerns, these demands before the central government ahead of the budget?
Well, yes, of course they did. And as I said, chief ministers do come and meet the Prime Minister and the finance ministers. We all saw, for example, pictures of the Telangana chief minister, the Himachal Pradesh chief minister having met up with the PM. When they meet up with the PM, they actually give us a status check of what is the situation in their state, projects which are undergoing, which have yet to be completed, either because of lack of funds or because of pending allocation coming in from the centre. So that's what Finance Ministry is saying, that there are two things. one, if you want fresh funds, you can always make those demands at the Niti Aayog. No one is going to stop you. And for all you know, the Niti Aayog may actually decide to allocate more funds to you. Second, the Finance Ministry sources have made it very clear that there are certain pending projects. For example, the Polavaram project, which is pending, there is money which is required from the centre, and the centre is going to give that money. So pending projects will be completed with arrangement or help coming in from the Finance Ministry. So, and also many of the central scheme, for example, the Awas Yojana. Now that funding or allocation of funds under this Yojana will actually benefit all states who are using that Awas Yojana. So why is it that you're thinking that the money is going only to Andhra Pradesh and Bihar? It's only a fraction of an amount of that is going. Is the other states also who benefit from the central schemes which have got more allocation under this budget?
Absolutely. The contention has been, the huge SOPs for Andhra Pradesh and Bihar, and many in the opposition have come out to say nothing has really been done for other states. Pallavi, stay on with us. Let's talk about more political reactions coming in, primarily from the opposition camp, raising all of those concerns earlier in Parliament today. Listen in.
मुझे इस बात की भी खुशी है कि इन्होंने बहुत बड़ा दिल दिखाया है और हमारा मैनिफेस्टो पढ़ा, जिसे बड़ी मेहनत के साथ हमने तैयार किया। हमने कोई गारंटी इनकी सरकार की तरह, मोदी जी की गारंटी की तरह नहीं कहा, लेकिन हमारे नेता राहुल गांधी जी ने पूरे देश में जाकर लोगों को गले लगाकर उनकी दुख तकलीफ समझकर इस मैनिफेस्टो को सबके साथ मिलकर तैयार किया और इन्होंने हमारा मैनिफेस्टो पढ़ा, अपनी गारंटी को साइड में रखा और हमारे मैनिफेस्टो को लागू किया। ये बजट है किसके लिए ये भी तो पता चले। क्या केवल 2 राज्यों को ही उन पर मेहरबानी हुई है या पूरे देश पर भी कुछ नज़र डाली गई? ऐसा नज़र नहीं आता कि 2 राज्यों के अलावा कुछ दिखा हो या फिर भाजपा शासित प्रदेशों के अलावा कुछ नज़र आता हो।
ये भारत सरकार का बजट तो लगता नहीं, ये तो पूरी तरह संघीय ढांचे का उल्लंघन है। फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर तोड़ा गया है। वो राज्य जहां पर भाजपा शासित नहीं है वहाँ उपेक्षा की गई। हमारे सारे राज्यों को जो उनका ड्यू था नहीं मिला है, उनकी भरपूर उपेक्षा वहाँ की जनता की हुई है। चाहे वो कर्नाटक हो, चाहे तेलंगाना हो, तमिलनाडु हो, केरल हो, नाम तक नहीं लिए गए। ये तो सरकार बचाओ अभियान है, ये गवर्नमेंट का नहीं बजट है। ये तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का बजट है कि सरकार किसी तरह बन गई, लूली लंगड़ी से बचाए रहो।
I don't grudge at all you're giving relief to Andhra Pradesh or Bihar. But what about the other states? We are a federal country. This is the death knell of federalism. If you pick and choose among states, you are the Union of India, you are the union government, you are the government of all the states. You cannot pick and choose one state and deny relief to another state.
While those are some of the reactions coming in from the opposition camp, remember Nirmala Sitharaman, the finance minister, responded with equal force in Rajya Sabha earlier today when she said the fact that she's not spoken of several other states and the kind of financial aid that's going to be provided to them doesn't mean that those states stand ignored. That's the rebuttal that came in from her with regards to the manner in which the opposition spoke in one voice about how there has been a bias when it comes to states like Andhra Pradesh and Bihar. That's the sentiment that we see pretty much in the opposition camp. Leaders also staged a protest outside the parliament and demanded all states be treated equally. The opposition in fact termed the union budget as Kursi Bachao budget, driven by political compulsions, and claimed that it ignored opposition ruled states in a bid to appease its allies.
कल बजट पेश हुआ, उस बजट में किसी स्टेट को कुछ नहीं मिला और सबके थाली खाली और 2 के थाली में पकोड़ा और ये अपना जिलेबी। एक सेकंड, ये दो छोड़ के किसी को नहीं मिला कुछ.
Deliberate attempt, and I'm saying this with responsibility. This is a deliberate attempt of the opposition parties led by the Congress party to give an impression to the people, oh, nothing has been given to our states, it's only been given to 2 states. It has taken the decision to set up a very big port in Vadavan in Maharashtra. Did Maharashtra get ignored because I did not mention the name of Maharashtra? 76,000 crores have been announced for that project. Let me just highlight the fact that the several schemes given by Honorable Prime Minister in the last 10 years have not even been implemented in West Bengal.
Let me go across to Pallavi once again. Pallavi, we heard it from the finance minister in specific talk about states like Maharashtra and how, 76,000 crore rupees have been allocated for the state. Also, for example, West Bengal, she says, over the last 10 years, there are so many schemes that have been introduced, but none of them have been implemented by the TMC. What about the other states? These kind of concerns have been raised, by, BJP's political rivals in Odisha, down south as well. Several states have raised concerns around it. How is the finance minister, the central government, the BJP responding to those charges?
See, what finance ministry sources are saying is that, the opposition parties are only cherry picking and nitpicking. Just because I mentioned Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Bihar doesn't mean that these are the only 2 states which have benefited from the general budget. If you look at the precedents of Congress finance ministers, they don't take the names of all the states when they talk about devolution of funds. So why is it that the focus is only on Andhra as well as Bihar? You've given that example of 76,000 lakh crore rupees which has been given to Maharashtra. That's exactly the kind of example that she has also given. Plus 12 to 13 scheme for Maharashtra which was announced by the Prime Minister even before the general budget was presented. Also, as we were talking about the Polavaram project, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, those are the ongoing projects. The Finance Commission plus the Niti Aayog decides on amount of funding and the budgetary allocation the states can get, and the central government has been giving that. Some of them come as a part of the general budget, some of them come over a period of time after cabinet meetings. So therefore, what the finance ministry is saying is that these are absolutely unsubstantiated allegations. We have been giving money and funds to various state governments. Just to pick on these 2 states is completely unfair, and also to insinuate that we are doing this to save our government.
What's interesting is also, Pallavi, the manner in which, a Congress, for example, in the national capital is alleging discrimination against opposition-ruled states, and the announcement made by the finance minister yesterday. But the same Congress, when it comes to the state level, for example, the Youth Congress in Bihar took to streets talking about the manner in which the centre's not done enough as far as the union budget is concerned. So it's quite bizarre how it's playing out on 2 fronts.
Well, I mean, again, I'm going to go back to the example of Bengal, which, the finance minister referred to. And clearly, Bengal MPs are up in arms from the Trinamool Congress, and Mamata Banerjee is going to be coming here for the Niti Aayog, and she's likely to make this a big issue as well. The claim coming in from the centre is that there are large amount of unused funds lying by various state governments, whether it is Bengal as far as the Manrega issue is concerned, or the Ayushman Bharat issue is concerned, the Arogya Yojana, which Bengal is not very keen to take up on. What about them? What about those funds which are at your disposal, which you have not been able to give an account of? So I think, strategically speaking, and we have to wait for the finance minister's reply on the 30th of July, where she is likely to make a blow-by-blow account of those state governments which have not used over a period of time the money which has accrued to them or has been given to them by way of funding, either through the Niti Aayog or through the central government. What about them? So they are going to try and show the mirror, certainly to the opposition parties, that what you are saying is absolutely outrageous.
Absolutely. And we've seen, several INDI bloc MPs stage a walkout both from Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha earlier today. It's very clear the opposition strategy at the moment. How the finance minister responds later this month remains to be seen still. Pallavi, many thanks for that. We'll come back to you in just a bit. Let's play out more reactions that we've managed to pick up.
The criticism that is coming of this budget from the opposition today, so Mr. Kharge also speak that many states have not got anything, especially Maharashtra, which is also going to elections in a few months. Do you agree with this kind of attack by the opposition?
All this is being raised only because the elections are around the corner in Maharashtra, Haryana and some other states. and therefore just to say that, Maharashtra has been ignored is completely a wrong thing to say. Just a few days before the budget started, the Prime Minister came to Mumbai and I think did the foundation stone and inauguration of projects of more than 1 lakh crores. There's a new port coming up on the western coast, and that is in Maharashtra, Vadavan, and that port alone is worth 76,000 crores, which is to be funded by the government of India. And that port will create, and all the other peripheral infrastructure and industries around it will create more than 10 lakh direct indirect jobs. So because the election is around the corner, these kinds of things are being said. I told the finance minister that in her reply, she should come out with all these facts so that automatically all the speculation and all this wrong publicity which is being done by the Congress and the other opposition parties should stop.
आज क्वेश्चन आवर में जो हमारा ओपोजिशन एमपीज ने जो किया है वो निंदनीय है। ऑल पार्टी मीटिंग में सारा पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के फ्लोर लीडर ने कहा हाउस अच्छा से चलना चाहिए, नियम से चलना चाहिए, सबने कहा। फिर सदन में आकर के इस तरीके से डिस्टर्ब करना, क्वेश्चन आवर का डिस्टर्ब करना, ये ठीक नहीं है सर।
Raghav ji, why would you say so? Is this, as the opposition is saying, many opposition CMs are even planning to boycott now the Niti Aayog meeting. Will AAP go to the Niti Aayog meeting?
Look, first of all, we understand the compulsions of coalition politics. We understand that the government had to give something additional to Bihar and Andhra because this government is effectively surviving on the support of the two key alliance partners. But the question that we collectively as the India bloc today through this protest at the parliament are trying to raise is what wrong or what ill have the states of, let's say, Delhi, Gujarat, Himachal, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, etc. have done to the BJP. They have done nothing except voting overwhelmingly in the favor of the BJP, but they have got nothing from the budget. Barring these two states, which I have just named, Bihar and Andhra, every other state has been given a stepmotherly treatment by the union government. That is point number one. Point number two, this budget, all in all, has basically been a body blow to the common man. Your jobless growth is only leading to increase in inflation and decrease in the income of the common man.
Government is denying the fact that there is a price rise. There is another. Where is this shrinkflation coming from? It's a completely new concept in economics. But it's a marketing activity for all these big companies which directly impact jobs, the economy, and it's reflecting. It's a reflection, no? When FMGCs don't do well, data speaks for itself, sir. Exports. Now, everybody looked, when there was a global issue with China, everybody looked at it as China +1. So there was a great opportunity for India to become the +1. Has India truly become Atmanirbhar Bharat? Make in India. All wonderful sloganeering, but has it really converted into jobs? So if it's China +1, what number are we globally? China +1 has become Mexico. China +1 has become Vietnam. China +1 has become Indonesia. We are at number 4 globally, sir. So with China +1, we haven't done as well as we should have done. And this was the sloganeering of this government when they had a clear mandate. They had a 300 MLA. They could have done anything they wanted. So what went wrong in Make in India? I think we all need to introspect of policies. What it's just not no point changing policies. Change is inevitable in any economy. We understand that. Third, fourth is fiscal spending. Now, in fiscal spending, what is important is, yes, after the global issues, the slowing down, after the pandemic, well, India has recovered in the K-shaped, which it has. We will give credit. But who has really done well? I mean, the Honorable Finance Minister constantly spoke about fiscal deficit. Sir, the FRBM Act, which was a wonderful bill, even if the...
हम सभी लोग जितने लोग हैं और खासकर समाजवादी लोग किसानों को एमएसपी मिले, आय दोगुनी हो, उसका रास्ता निकले। लेकिन इधर देखने को मिल रहा है समर्थन मूल्य किसान को न मिल करके जो अलायंस पार्टनर जो सरकार बचा रहे हैं उन्हें समर्थन मूल्य सरकार दे रही है। ये तो अखबारों में भी छपा है। क्या मिला यूपी को? डबल इंजन की सरकार, तो डबल लाभ मिलना चाहिए था, दिल्ली का लाभ, लखनऊ का लाभ। लेकिन लगता ये है कि दिल्ली अब लखनऊ की तरफ नहीं देख रही है, या लखनऊ वालों ने दिल्ली वालों को नाराज कर दिया, उसका परिणाम हमें बजट में दिखाई दे रहा है।
लगातार सब जगह कितना आंदोलन, पटना, कहाँ नहीं कितना हुआ सब आप जानते हैं। और हम लोग कर रहे थे, लोग जितना काम करवाए उसको देखने के लिए आए, सहमत नहीं कराया। 14 के बाद तो लोग फिर अलग हट गए, तो नहीं कराया कितनी भी कोशिश किए तो। लेकिन हम इसके लिए लगातार बोलते रहे और इन लोगों को भी हमने कहा। तो अब एक बात हो रहा था, विशेष राज्य का दर्जा पहले से खत्म हो गया है। हम लोगों ने ही कह दिया कि विशेष राज्य का दर्जा दीजिए या विशेष अधिकार के लिए मदद दीजिए। यहाँ के लिए जो जरूरत है बिहार के लिए, क्योंकि बिहार को भी आगे बढ़ना है। तो बहुत कुछ किया है, आप जानते हैं कैसे बुरा हाल था बजट का।
It is on the budget allocation. Now the politics has started. They are saying that there is some sort of differences which this government has done with certain states. So are you happy, and how do you see this package for Andhra Pradesh or for Bihar, and rest states are raising questions?
Why is Chandrababu Naidu doing all this? You need to understand that first. He has made false promises, knowing very well that they are lies, that they cannot be fulfilled during the election campaign, which have become part of his manifesto. And for him to implement his manifesto, forget about 15,000 crores what the central government is given. He will never be satisfied with that. Even 1,50,000 crores per annum also will not suffice for the promises that he had made in the manifesto, knowing very well that they are lies.
Opposition parties who came to support here, they were the ones who were saying that Andhra got the special package. Why it is not for the states?
No, it is not the question of whether what they have given this person. It is the question of what this person has done. It is the question of what this person has done. You just go through his manifesto for yourself.
जो अनाउंसमेंट हुआ बजट में, उस पर क्या कहना है आपका संजय जी?
नहीं, हम लोग का ये हमारी पार्टी का और हमारे नेता नीतीश कुमार जी का शुरू से स्पेशल कैटेगरी स्टेटस का डिमांड रहा है। और हम लोगों ने ये भी कहा कि अगर उसमें कोई टेक्निकल इशू है तो अगर विशेष पैकेज मिलता है, और इस बजट में इसको एड्रेस करने का भी एड्रेस किया गया है। मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी का धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि बिहार के जो कंसर्न थे, जो 4 एक्सप्रेसवे दिए गए हैं, या पिरपैती में जो पावर लगना है 2100 मेगावाट का, और उसके अलावा आपको बक्सर में जो गंगा पर 2 लेन ब्रिज दिया गया है, और सबसे बड़ा इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ उत्तर बिहार के वो बाढ़ से मुक्त करने के लिए 11,500 करोड़ रुपया इस शुरुआती दिया गया है। तो उसमें स्टडी होना है सारी चीज़ का, उसके बाद और पैसे की ज़रूरत होगी तो प्रॉब्ली वो भी दिया जाएगा। तो बिहार के कंसर्न को एड्रेस करने किया गया है इस बजट में। जो हम लोग को विशेष सहायता का बात रखा था, मैं आपके चैनल पे बता रहा हूँ, उसकी शुरुआत है ये कोई अंत नहीं हो गया।
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister expressing his disappointment over Budget 2024, saying Tamil Nadu is not mentioned anywhere, and therefore Prime Minister chairing the Niti Aayog meeting, DMK has decided to boycott it. Tell us more about why you're planning to boycott Niti Aayog.
This budget did not care for Tamil Nadu. We have been demanding funds for the metro rail system, which the government of India should share with the state. We are demanding funds for the calamity happened in the southern districts of our state. He had written so many letters. We are demanding an AIMS. No fund was allocated to all these things. So they are ignoring Tamil Nadu. When they ignore Tamil Nadu, why should we take part in the Niti Aayog meeting? That is why our Chief Minister is boycotting.
So while the allies of the BJP say that the budget has won hearts, it is the INDI leaders who've come out to say that it's a big letdown, especially when it comes to opposition rule states. It's time for us to head into a very short break. With that, we'll be right back. Keep watching. Welcome back. We're live from CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Newsroom. We start with the plane crash, another shocking incident that unfolded in Kathmandu earlier today. This was when a Shaurya Airlines plane, while taking off, crashed at the Tribhuvan International Airport in Kathmandu. There were 19 people on board and 18 people lost their life to this tragic accident. Now, investigations have been ongoing. In fact, we've been picking up several visuals of the rescue operations as well. What we have learned is that the aircraft was bound for the famous resort town of Pokhara. It is right after the takeoff that this crash took place. Of the 19 people on board, 16 to 17 were believed to be of the airline's team itself. They were going for some sort of a technical or a test visit to Pokhara. As per the Nepal army, in fact, the aircraft skid due to water on the runway, and shortly after, fire broke out. 18 bodies, like I said, have been recovered. The pilot has been undergoing treatment. Nepal Prime Minister also visited the crash site and took stock of the situation. Here's what the army so far has revealed. Listen in.
Regarding the number of people died and a number of people dead, and how many have been rescued, and if you can talk a little bit about the rescue operation going on.
Yeah, once the accident happened around in the first about 11:15 a.m. in the early in the morning.
Okay.
So immediately Nepal Army team, because we have one 24/7 standby team in the airport, that's our deployed team. They have mobilized with other security agencies like armed police and Nepal police as well.
Okay. So
once we reached there, the flight was during the time of takeoff.
Yeah.
They skid off and deviated to the right towards the east. So our team there's already the fire blazed there.
Okay.
And at the end.
Jobs are, Madam Finance Minister. Where is the capital investment? While no one, Mr. Speaker, expected any better from this government, it's extraordinary that in India, individuals pay more direct tax than corporates. Budgeted figures of higher direct taxes from individuals and lower from corporates will surprise voters and should shame the government. Perhaps they are ashamed since they've stopped even releasing detailed GST revenue collection data, allegedly because their GST collections are so high that they dare not reveal the extent to which the Aam Aadmi is subsidizing this government through regular purchases that they pay GST on, while the government subsidizes a favored few. But once again, concealing data is a specialty of this government. Remember the PM Cares Fund. During the UPA years, Mr. Chairman, personal income tax was 21% of total tax collection, corporate tax was 35%. Today, the share of corporate taxes out of total tax collection is the lowest level ever at just 26%, while the share of personal income tax in total tax collections has increased to 28%. But while this has gone on, private investment has nosedived from a peak of 35% of GDP under Dr. Manmohan Singh to below 29% during this government's 10 years of BJP rule. So the corporate tax cut has put over 8.7 lakh crores in the pockets of billionaires, while the middle class and the Aam Aadmi continue to bear the weight of heavy taxation. In contrast, if the money were to be put into the hands of ordinary people, they would spend it in their local communities and on their own essentials, and so stimulate the economy. It would be a matter of spending on roti, kapda or makan rather than on the pockets of those who happen to support the BJP. So I want to point out to the Honourable Finance Minister, in her absence, of course, that 1/3 of our population lives under 100 rupees a day. And if we are to have a budget that addresses their needs, we must pay attention to those crucial sectors of our economy that are conspicuous in their absence from this budget. My colleague Kumari Shelja has already addressed the emissions in agriculture, so in the interest of time, I won't touch that and farmers' welfare. But consider, for instance, that the word health is mentioned only 4 times in the speech. Indeed, Madam Minister did not even discuss healthcare at length. At a time in India when 55 million of our most vulnerable citizens are annually cast below the poverty line because of having to spend on healthcare, This budget offers nothing tangible for this vital sector. Was it really so long ago, Mr. Chairman, that COVID-19 rampaged across the world, wreaking havoc and exposing our massively inadequate and ineffective healthcare sector? Yes, if one were to look at the budget, it would seem that the pandemic has been forgotten, for allocations to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare have decreased as a share of the overall expenditure from 2.16% in 2019 to 1.9% in the budget. At the same time, the Ministry of Ayush has had an allocation nearly doubling. The fact is that India is just not spending enough on health. Brazil, Russia, China, South Africa, the other BRICS countries spend roughly 14 to 15 times more than us. Until recently, even Bhutan, Nepal, Maldives were outspending us. This year, the budget outlay for health has seen a minuscule rise, yet far from the aspiration of 5% of the GDP, the Modi government's health expenditure as a proportion of GDP remains stagnant, and we are even distant from spending the minimum 2.5% that was outlined by their government in the National Health Policy. We also must address the so-called missing middle. According to Niti Aayog, these are the people who have no health insurance cover and are too well off to be eligible for the Ayushman Bharat Yojana. When flagged in a 2021 Niti Aayog report, the government said they would take notice of this, and yet here we are in 2024 with no health solution at all for this middle class. This is highly irresponsible and reflective of our government's inability to afford something as basic as healthcare insurance cover to some of our neediest citizens. Offering health insurance to employees at negotiated rates, reducing GST on health insurance premiums, offering such tax benefits as increased exemption limits under Section 80D of the Income Tax Act, could all have been ideas for the Finance Minister to make health insurance far more affordable and accessible, especially for the middle section, the missing middle of our population, which is growing according to the government, but she has completely overlooked them. The truth is...
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for a future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
Hey, careful.
Welcome back. You're tuned into CNN News 18. Well, quickly talking about the latest announcement, remember, that came in from the United States. Now we're picking up more details with regards to why the United States administration has perhaps sought a budget of $101 million for Pakistan. Remember, US has come out to say this is to strengthen democracy, fight terrorism and stabilize the country's economy. But highly placed sources are now telling your channel that this money, in fact, is also being provided to Pakistan to prevent proximity to China. A special budget allocation to stop Pakistan's over-reliance on China. I want to go across to Siddhant Mishra joining us with more details. It's a big update coming in. Very interesting, Siddhant, how India is also viewing this development. Tell us a little bit about the exclusive inputs we have and what do we make of the entire scenario unfolding?
Absolutely. Very in fact, has been made by Assistant Secretary of State Donald Lu before the congressional panel. And in fact, Donald Lu, who is again a very powerful bureaucrat, has presented a written budget request for South and Central Asian Affairs to the House of Representatives Foreign Affairs Committee, and in which this demand has been brought in. Now, Mr. Lu has to say that there are ongoing challenges and opportunities, in light of which the requested funding would strengthen democracy and fight terrorism and stabilize the economy of Pakistan by supporting economic reform and debt. So the budget requests a straight lining of $101 million for Pakistan. That is what Donald Lu has requested for. Now, the reason that have been cited by Donald Lu, perhaps, and in fact, the geopolitical experts are also telling us that this is deliberately being done because US doesn't want Pakistan to over-rely on China. That has been the major concern of US. Look, in last few years, when it comes to Middle East, when it comes to Pakistan, there have been a shift in US's policy to more focus is being given to Indo-Pacific. And the new groupings and new equations are being forged. But at the same time, there is a lot of resentment when it comes to the old equations that US had with maybe the countries from Middle East and especially Pakistan, which had been US's very strong ally for the longest time. So US never wanted this sentiment to go out that US has left Pakistan and there's no focus of US on Pakistan. And that's the reason, even when US has a comprehensive strategic partnership with India, when US is doing 10,000 things with India, from space to technology, from tech transfer to whatnot, US also makes sure that they maintain close affiliation with Pakistan. And they have, in fact, last year, if I remember, they had signed a defense agreement also. Now we are getting to know that US has agreed to give a budget. Even the Biden administration is very much in favor of that $101 million budget, which Pakistan could get.
Very interesting. United States now moving in this direction in order to ensure that Pakistan doesn't over-rely on China, especially given developments that are being witnessed in Pakistan with regards to China outposts, police posts now, that have been spotted in Pakistan territory. All of that extremely concerning. So a big move by the United States. Many thanks, Siddhant, for joining us with those details. Let's quickly now shift our attention to more breaking news coming in. Remember, yesterday is when the Supreme Court, in fact, turned down the demand for a retest into the NEET UG examination. In related news, remember, CBI investigations have been ongoing still, and we are picking up more details on what top CBI sources are trying to unearth. Top CBI sources on the NEET probe have revealed to CNN News 18 that the accused did this job very carefully. They were aware of the mass leak. They deliberately did not give access to a large group of people. In fact, their target was limited to 120 candidates who'd given them money initially and post-dated checks as well. I want to go across to Anshul joining us with more details. Anshul, tell us a little bit about, the latest we are picking up from sources in the CBI. This is big that CBI, is now quite sure about the fact that the paper leak was limited to 120 odd students, and it is believable given the NTA's line of argument before the Supreme Court earlier.
Well, definitely, the Central Bureau of Investigation has already submitted 3 status reports in front of the Supreme Court, in which they have very clearly mentioned that at this point in time, at the stage at which the investigation is, it seems like that the entire paper leak happened at a very, very localized level. In fact, the accused in this entire matter, the syndicate that was operating in Bihar and Jharkhand, who in fact leaked this entire paper, made sure that only the people who have given them checks, only the people who have promised them money, they get access to the question paper, and that is the reason why they had selected 7 people actually to answer the 180 questions that were in that NEET question paper. All these people were given approximately 25 questions each to solve, and in a time period of approximately 45 minutes, all of them had solved all these questions. And this is on the basis of which the Supreme Court has given this judgment, that at this point in time it does not seem like, or there are no substantial evidences that actually prove that there was a mass paper leak that might have happened. But yes, the manner in which this gang has been operating, this is a serious issue. The main accused in this entire matter, Sanjeev Mukhya, is still at large. Sanjeev Mukhya himself has been involved in several other paper leaks as well, and that is what the prosecution had raised in front of the courts as well, where they had said that at this point the main accused has not been arrested. What will happen tomorrow if the main accused is arrested and to his own, it is somewhere or the other established that there were other people who might have been involved, or there might have been other beneficiaries. But the Supreme Court gave its decision based on the investigation that has happened till now, and till now the CBI has no reason to
the
believe
CBI's
that there could be
findings
a
pretty
massive
much in
paper
line with the Supreme Court order, and that's what we heard from the top court yesterday, that it isn't keen on ordering a retest. But the fact of the matter is, as far as yesterday's observations are concerned, the Supreme Court said very clearly, Anshul, that at present stage there is absence of sufficient material on record to lead to the conclusion that the result of the examination stands vitiated, or there's a systemic breach to the sanctity of the examination. And the CBI also is of the opinion that the paper leak was limited to 120 odd students, then, have they also managed to put that across to the top court? Was this part of the evidence submitted on part of the CBI?
Well, yes, the Central Bureau of Investigation had said that 120 students were actually involved in this paper leak that had happened, whereas a few other were involved in the irregularities that have come up from other states. A total number of 155 was what was given from the side of the investigators to the Supreme Court. They said that the maximum that they have reached at this point in time is 155 students that might have gotten benefited from the irregularities that have come up and from the paper leak that has happened. And this was the base of the argument from the side of the NTA, where SG Tushar Mehta himself had said that 155 students have been benefited, and ordering a retest for 24 lakh students where only 155 has been benefited from this irregularities will actually be very, very unfair for the other students who have qualified the exams. And based on these arguments, finally the Supreme Court had given its order that there is no need of a NEET retest at this point in time. It remains to be seen eventually as the investigation will go forward, and if at all the main accused will be arrested, what more facts will come to the fore. But yes, at this point in time, the CBI has this conclusion in their hands.
Okay, all right. Very interesting. Investigation still continues. So investigations haven't concluded fully, but these are very interesting inputs that we're picking up from highly placed sources in the CBI. Many thanks, Anshul, for that. That's all from me in this edition of Nation at 5. Shivani joins you up next on Plain Speak.
We stand for Network 18's Project One Tree.
I stand in support of Network 18's Project One Tree.
This is CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta, and we're joining you live from the CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio. A day after Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presented the budget, the opposition has been quick to attack the NDA government. Firstly, Congress accused the NDA of copy-pasting its manifesto. And secondly, the entire gamut of the opposition and its states have accused the NDA government of favouring its own allies and ignoring non-NDA ruled states.